Hello and welcome back to the Fox Strength Performance YouTube channel. I am Taylor Fox and we are back at PWRBLD Warrington for another press session today. I actually got a couple sessions for you. So this was the one day doing pressing, and then we did a chest workout at PWRBLD KOP. So we're going to start with some no monies with some plates, and then get into some scap wall slides and then band protractions. I really like this little circuit. I'll do a couple rounds of it, and I have clients do it as well. It's an easy and efficient warm-up, and it's also very accessible. So there's no getting on the ground, there's not multiple complicated things that you need to grab. It's really just a band. The plates are right there on the weight trees, so you just grab those and really get through it pretty quickly. I like to get the shoulders good and warm, but I also don't want to take 20-25 minutes to warm up. So this one is going to be for serratus activity. The other two are for activating the rotator cuff or shoulder mobility. So all good things. And there's a lot of people that'll be like, you don't need to do all of this. You can just get into pressing and do maybe a couple sets of 5 with the empty log or an empty bar. I would say 99% of the time, maybe a little bit less, that's fine. But then it's that 1% of the time, 0.5, 0.1, whatever it ends up being, where an injury results and you're out for a couple weeks, maybe even 4 to 6 weeks as a result. So we're trying to account for that instance where we might see a little bit of a tweak, we might see an issue. And it's the same thing with training in general, cumulative volume, cumulative time doing prehab, warming up, working on those just simple techniques, mobility, making sure that you have everything firing correctly. That adds up too, just as soft tissue work, stretching does as well. I used to always watch the mobility WOD, which is, it's now ready state, but Kelly Starrett would be you need those 2 minutes of activity to really create plastic changes in the tissue. Now, I wouldn't say you need to do 2 minutes of everything in one shot, but you can do 30 seconds, and then maybe you do 30 seconds 2 days later for your next training session. So that's a minute. And if you only do that minute, the next week, that's 2 minutes. So those are changes, but generally I'll prescribe a lot of the same things multiple times a week. And especially if you're trying to be very competitive, get to a high level in strongman, powerlifting, bodybuilding, you should be doing these things multiple times a week anyway. If that's going to be your priority and focus, you kind of need to figure out how to get all of that in, on a consistent basis, not just I trained once and it's fine and I'll be okay. So you saw me do a set of 5 on 235. I feel like I'm just lacking the body mass to be able to support the log, but the pressing wasn't too bad, and then I felt like I needed to do something fun. So I went with this medley of log and keg. So I started on the keg, one press, doing one motion, and then went here for a push press on the log with 235. Hit that pretty easy, and then we're going to run back to the keg for another one motion. And I went back and forth for 3 rounds, ended up doing 3 presses on each implement, which felt pretty good. It wasn't hard. I feel like this is kind of where I have to keep the strongman stuff if I want to continue doing it, which I feel like it does have a benefit. I just need to not crush myself with it. So doing a 285 log today, even though I would have pressed that pretty well, I think would be irresponsible, but doing some quick easy reps with 235 I think is good. So we're not getting too much cumulative fatigue from that. Because I don't want to end up in another situation like the squat video that I did. I did so many freaking reps of squat. There was so much volume in that session. Plus, the one set was a pretty top end set with 205 kilos, 450 on the bar, and doing those pauses just off the box. I really felt that for a while and was really struggling just with functioning. After that, I need to be able to get up and do my cardio, get to my early clients in the morning, all that. So we keep stuff in check so that we're, prioritizing recovery, without a lot of calories, without a lot of water in the system. We need to make sure that we're not going crazy. So I thought that was good. And then we just moved on to some lat pull downs. I had seen something from a former client lately where I was like, oh, I could have called these seesaw lat pull downs, but I call them rocking lat pull downs. And I guess either is fine, but you're trying to get that iso hold on the one side and then extend the arm fully on the other and really get a lot of good tension in the lats. And then I just did a couple reps here to burn out a little bit, and that felt good. I actually did 2 sets, but I did a very poor job of filming the one where you could barely see anything, so it was kind of pointless to post that. But then we're going to move on to KOP. So this was the next day, and I was like, I'm not too beat up from the pressing. Really didn't do anything that was like crushing my arms or my shoulders. So I was like, let's pre-exhaust the triceps and the lats, and then we'll move on to chest. So I feel like this is great with the pullover. It's a max pump pullover. And I had said in a previous video, which I can put up here, that I saw Sam Sulek doing this. I thought it was interesting. It's not all that different. Like, I could put like a straight bar on a cable and that would be fine, but I just feel like it's an easy way to load it, and it's there and it's efficient. And hey, look, I can put this back up easy, and then I'll sit down and do some pullovers. So there's 2 exercises, huge bang for your buck right there, all at the same time. And with the way I like to do these wedding warm-ups with high repetitions, like, I feel like this is very efficient. There are times I prescribe like dumbbell, then cable, then a lat row machine. So it's like, you're running around the gym, which, it's doable. It's not that bad, but there are times I've walked in here, especially KOP before the expansion, and it's like I'm in a crazy mindset of like, I need to bounce here, I need to bounce there just to get this warm up in. When it's like you could just jump on this and do 2 things and like you're getting a ton there. I might not even need to really do a 3rd exercise, and sometimes I prescribe 4, but I'm not sure if that's really something that's necessary in this scenario, especially with like the lower calories I'm on a cut. You don't need a whole lot to warm up here. Couple sets of this, 20 to 25, get that in. I think we're good. Like, really just trying to pre-exhaust those muscles so that I'm hitting like all chest. And I feel like I've made some great improvements on the chest from doing this. Chest is definitely a weak point. I'll pose with my upper back, you'll see at the end, but it's like, I wish, at least currently with what I'm training for, like, I got a little bit more pop in the chest. I feel like I look way different and pretty cool, honestly, and there's things I could do, like exfoliating the skin and the tan and maybe taking some body hair off that would make things look better. But I also think, in spite of that, like, I could just have my chest pop a little bit more and it would look more aesthetic. But unfortunately, that's one, it hasn't been my focus of training my entire life. Kind of just benched and that was it. And 2, like, I was on brutal assault with my upper back. Like, I have a very good foundation with my upper back, and that's why I get a lot of like good definition and pop when I show that. Plus, like, for whatever reason, anytime I have my shirt off outside, I seem to be having my back to the sun, probably my sensitivity to the light, and my back gets a ton of tan and my chest doesn't, and then my back looks really good in the winter when we're trying to like lean out a little bit, and my chest is kind of just like But I really like this Atlantis chest press machine. I know like a lot of other people are a big fan of it around here. The Sabian, who's the personal training manager, was on it before me, and I was like, I'd yet to really try it. There's something similar at Philly, so I've kind of used it, but that one's a cable loaded. This is plate loaded. So my first time kind of getting on it, I was like, I don't think 2 plates should be too bad, so I threw those on, especially after warming up like I did. And then I was like, let's go to 3. And, I felt like I was getting a lot of good repetitions. And the foot plate, to be able to push the weight up and then, get right into the reps. I overlooked the fact that you can adjust the back pad. I was like, well, you have the foot plate, so it's fine, and just pushed it forward, and then was able to get to the rep and lock it out and start. But I really should have adjusted the back pad so that the range of motion was a little more appropriate for me, because I never want to see this too, where it's like I'm really grinding out reps and then I have to come back, and I come back so freaking far that if I really drop that and let my shoulders settle back there, not necessarily a great thing. So we want to make sure we're staying safe and in good positions. I do not have the best mobility, so don't want to be in that kind of scenario and get a hurt shoulder or hurt pec just from some bodybuilding training, when it's in the end, my priorities are elsewhere, and I'll eventually kind of work back to that. And this is kind of just fun and a little way to refocus myself to some other things. But I think we put on a quarter after this. Really tried to just push this as hard as we could. I felt like I had some meals. We had a banquet the one night. I loaded up on some chicken parm and potatoes, and then one of the other days I just really didn't have a whole lot of food prepped, but had some opportunities to eat something, and probably got a little more calories, or at least sources of calories that I would not have preferred. So I was like, let's use that. Did not have any repercussions, and that's a big point with releasing this video today on Thanksgiving. You'll be fine. I was 276 last night. I have continued to drop a pound every half week or so. Not reasonable for a lot of people. I would kind of stick with more a pound a week. Oh, especially at this stage, I lost 33 pounds, so it's you want to preserve muscle. I think I just, even with sparse cardio, I just move around so much. Plus, I'm working hard and managing my calories well. So, cumulatively, there were a couple of days it wasn't great, but overall, I've done a really good job with the calories and eating good sources, getting my veggies in. I stopped being kind of a dumbass, for lack of a better word. Made sure I got some supplements in check as I got deeper into this cut, and was get the vitamins, get the multivitamin in, get the fish oils in, get the zinc. You've been sick. Zinc is the most efficacious thing to be taking this time of year, even if you're not a cut. But when you're on a cut, you need to have that. So I got all that dialed in so that it can be a little bit more successful. And that's just, you are gonna be eating on Thanksgiving. There's people that I'm 2 weeks out from a show. That happens, and you need to kind of prep your own food and really weigh everything out. But for most people, you will be fine. Don't eat a half a cheesecake like Eddie Hall, but you're gonna be okay if you eat some food and maybe go 500 calories higher than you normally would have. I literally just did it and got back to work hard, getting over 15,000 steps in a day, doing some cardio, training, And like I continued to lose weight because I go back to eating turkey, ground turkey and rice and spinach. But that one meal, like you can afford it. Don't save leftovers and like eat desserts like the next day or something like that. Or if you're going to like prioritize it around your training sessions, and that way you can utilize those extra calories, and maybe it's a little bit of more of like a point of recovery for you than you would have under normal conditions. And again, this is why I pushed this session so hard, because I was like, I have some of the extra calories, some of those extra resources. I was like, we're going to do the Panatta press after the Atlantis press, after flies, and then we're going to do banded push-ups to failure. And then we're actually going to drop the weight and do some reps to failure on the Panatta press. And then we're going to do reps to failure on push-ups. And then we're going to do some pulsing push-ups at the bottom of the push-up range and really just put more tension and more stimulus into that, into the chest, into those pectoral muscles, all that mechanical stress, like from eating a little bit more food, like is going to be helpful. And then we'll just get back to the cut after that, you know. And like this week, I haven't really done a whole lot. Like I did my sets on like pressing for the chest, flies. I did my leg extensions on leg day, some hamstring curls, some sled work. I did a lot of sled work because I just put out a sled video on Instagram, but that doesn't have as many repercussions because it's concentric only, so I can recover from that. But I kind of skipped the squats because this is a deload, and I was like, I don't need the squats this week, but I did last week when I was like, I'm gonna really get after it and pump this up. And it's the same thing with like, I walked by and I was like, oh my god, the Watson machine is open. Like I'm getting on this because I haven't done pec flies on this yet, and I'm gonna do my like segmental range of motion pec flies and just really like finish the chest off hard, which maybe isn't something I would do this week, like when I have trained so far, but like planning to go to Philly on Saturday, so there's some machines there I haven't tried. So I might, you know, after today and eating a little bit more, maybe I'll hit that on Saturday and really get pumped up. And that's just kind of how you like work it. Like it's periodization, and it's also like just being mindful of where you're at, stages of prepping or just stages of a cut, whatever block you're training for. And you write a program out. Like I sell 12-week programs to people, and that's very good. Like here's your template, just run it. I also do the custom programming for people, so we're adjusting it week by week. I like for best success, I would prefer week by week or every couple weeks, really checking in, because you do want to be able to change things on the fly. Like I change things on the fly compared to what things were like, you know, last week, and then how things were this week. You know, you kind of have to just go in the gym and see how you feel. Like I felt great today, and I was like, I'm gonna like be a savage and just get after it. But then this week it's like, yeah, just get the reps in. I need like a half hour, 45 minutes to really pump it up. But I felt like this was a good session today and a good weekend overall. I had a lot of work and I made it happen. I got a good pump in. And it's just showing people like this can work. Like you just have to buy into it and, you know, keep up with what you're doing. It can happen. Like you can get, you know, 10, 12 hours of work in and still get to the gym, stay on your diet, and make progress. You just kind of have to prepare and be in the right mindset to do it. It's very hard to fall into that trap where you're, you know, not, there's the back, where you're not like, okay, I'm not going to be compliant. I'm just going to go to Wawa, or I need Chick-fil-A or something. I just need whatever's nearby, or I'm working an event and that's what they supplied. But if you're looking to kind of drive further, then, you know, these are the things that you just don't negotiate with. You write your plan out, you try to stay on track. There's also plenty of, options out there where you can get some leaner food, some food that agrees more with your plan, and make it happen. And then, you look weeks later and you see this and you're like, damn, like it was worth it in the end, even though it sucked when I was doing it. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, keep lifting those heavy weights and hold strong.